Retired Army General Philip Valerio Sibanda surprises ZanuPF officials after appear in full military uniform at Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day today apo pari kupemberwa the 4th Zimbabwe Defense Forces. Kusangana kwatinoita zvakare pana pa YouTube channel yenyu yeMagaba News patinobata nhau dzakasiyana-siyana dzinenge dzichiitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe, tichiita social commentary, tichiita analysis dzekuita kuti mugozive zviri kuitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. Zuva ranhasi pari kupembererwa Defense Forces Day rinova riri zuva rinorangarirwa security yemunyika yeZimbabwe. Vanova vaPhilip Valerio Sibanda vaimbova a former commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces vowanikwa vachipemberera zuva ranhasi apo vachiwanikwa vakapfeka a full military gear yavaipfeka pavanga vachiri commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces vasati vasiyira kuna vaGeneral Emmanuel Matatu. Zvinova zvashamisa vazhinji veZanuPF sezvo vaValerio Sibanda panguva ino vaZanuPF Politburo member apo pavakagadzwa navaMnangagwa. So now iyi ndiyo yemwe mufananidzo wamuri kuona iri pa screen iri kutendera munyika yedu yeZimbabwe yava Philip Valerio Sibanda. So according to news, Zimbabwe 46th Defense Forces Day celebration have attracted particular attention after retired General Philip Valerio Sibanda was seen attending the national event in full military uniform. The appearance of the former commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces has immediately generated discussions, especially because General Sibanda retired from active military service in November 2025 and handed over command to General Emmanuel Matatu. But there was another important dimension to his appearance this year. General Sibanda is no longer serving as the country's defense forces commander. He has since moved into the political arena after being appointed to the ZanuPF Politburo by President Emmerson Mnangagwa in May 2026. And that is what makes his presence at the Defense Forces Day celebration particularly interesting. Image released from the celebration shown Sibanda seated in military uniform complete with his decorations, ceremonial medals and military insignia. For many people watching the event, the sight immediately stood up. He was a former commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces months after his retirement, appearing at one of the country's most important military commemoration, well dressed in the uniform associated with the institution he once commanded. His appearance also comes at a time when the military and ZanuPF remain closely watched by political observers because of the country's evolving political landscape. However, it is important to separate what is visible from what is speculation. There is no evidence in the material shown that General Sibanda was returning to active military service. Instead, the available records is clear that the retired from the Zimbabwe Defense Forces in November 2025. At that time, President Emmerson Mnangagwa appointed General Emmanuel Matatu as the new commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces effectively 21 November 2025, following Sibanda's retirement. Formal handover ceremony followed with the Matatu takeover from Sibanda. That transition marks the end of Sibanda's long tenure at the top of the Zimbabwe military command structure. He had served as a commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces since 2017, and according to reports at the time of his retirement, his military career stretched over more than 5 decades. But retirement from the military did not mean an exit from public life. Just months after leaving the military, Sibanda entered ZanuPF highest decision-making structure. In May this year, President Emmerson Mnangagwa appointed him to ZanuPF Politburo with immediate effect. The ruling party said the appointment was made under its constitution. Sibanda subsequently attended his first Politburo meeting, where he was publicly welcomed by President Emmerson Mnangagwa. That makes his appearance at the Defense Forces Day more significant from a political commentary perspective. If it placed a retired military commander and current ZanuPF Politburo member back in the spotlight at a major national military occasion, and there is another figure who naturally become part of this picture, General Matatu. Matatu is now the serving commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, having succeeded Sibanda. The photograph from the Defense Forces shows currently military leadership, particularly in the celebration where Sibanda appears among the distinguished figures attending the event. This creates a powerful visual contrast. On one side, in the current commander responsibility for the country's defense forces. On the other is his predecessor, who he has since retired from military command and entered the political leadership structure of ZanuPF. For now, political observer, that transition is worth watching. Sibanda moves from the military into the ruling party Politburo illustrate how senior figures from Zimbabwe liberation and security instability can continue to play influential roles even after leaving active military service. So muri Zimbabwe ndo nawo iri kutaurika, asi nawo yanyanya kutaurika ndeyekuti veruzhinji vaona retired vakapfeka uniform iyi, ende tikatarisa kuti nawo iyi haisi yekutanga. Veruzhinji vakamuona paisiwa na retired General of Valerio Sibanda. VP Chiwenga ndipo pawakaenda vachienda kuCharles Gumbo Baraki uko kwaitwa retirement ya Valerio Sibanda. VP Chiwenga vanga variko vakapfeka full military, so Valerio Sibanda vapfeko full military uniform yavo, zvese nenyembe dzavo dzese dzanga dziripo, vakagaro vari kumauto kuratidza kuti aiwa vangave zvavo vakaretire asi vachiri a full military. Munoti chini nawo idzi ndidzo nawo dzataya tikabata pano pachannel yenyu yeMagaba News, your channel nokuigirai political news which is happening in Zimbabwe.